What if the person who hurt you the most was the one everyone trusted the most? The screaming had already stopped, and the room was too clean. A red sweater, inside out, damp at the sleeves, was folded on the edge of the bathroom sink. It shouldn't have been there. Who folded this? Detective Hannah Corelli didn't expect an answer, but she asked anyway. Tuesday, 3:27 p.m. Calls flooded in from 4 different neighbors. Screaming. Something slammed against glass. A child's voice. Then silence. Officers forced their way in 5 minutes later. What they found didn't make sense. No sign of forced entry. No victim. No blood. But the walls were humming. One officer swore he heard a girl crying. Not loudly, not pleading. Just repeating. He's here. He's here. He's here. But the house was empty. And the family? Only one person was home. 16-year-old Mara Elgin. She sat on the kitchen floor with her back against the fridge, cradling a blood-stained walkie-talkie. Her voice was flat. "I told everyone who hurt me," she whispered. But no one listened. Corelli stared at her. "Where's your mother, Mara?" No answer. Just a distant blink. "Your father." Mara turned her face to the side, like someone was whispering in her ear. Then quietly, "I warned her not to open the door. 11 hours earlier." A classmate posts a 4-second Snapchat video at 3:15 a.m. Caption: "WTF, Mara is outside my house?" The video is blurred, but a figure stands at the end of the driveway, soaking wet, just staring. Some swear the girl isn't Mara. Others say the eyes match. But the teeth, too many. No one calls the police. No one even messages her. By morning, Mara is seen walking into school. Hair combed. No wet clothes. She's humming. But her English teacher pauses mid-roll call when she sees Mara's wrists. Deep red bands. Like she'd been grabbing something hot. The teacher asks, "Are you okay?" Mara replies, "I told everyone who hurt me," and smiles. Corelli kneels beside her in the kitchen. "What happened here?" Mara places the walkie-talkie on the ground like it's made of glass. She presses the button. White static. Then a voice. "Don't say it out loud." Then screaming, only it wasn't coming from the device. Came from upstairs. Officers sweep the second floor. The master bedroom is pristine, except for a single bare mattress in the middle of the floor. No sheets. No pillows. Just a massive, rust-colored stain shaped like a handprint on the wall behind it. Under the bed is a recorder still running. Corelli hits play. Voice 1. "Stop crying, Mara. Stop lying. You always do this." Voice 2, young, shaking. "I'm not lying." He comes in through the vent. Long pause. A thud. Then dragging. Then. He says I'm his favorite. Click. Back in the kitchen, Mara is standing now. No expression. "He only hurts the ones who ask for help," she says. Suddenly, movement on the walkie-talkie. Another voice. Not Mara's. Not human. Dry, flaking, distorted. She opened the door. Tuesday, 10:11 p.m. Officer Bailey replays the hallway camera footage for the 5th time. It's glitching, always in the same spot. Frame 214. The image stutters just as someone turns the corner. There's a tall figure. Long coat. Heavy steps. But the face flickers and doubles, like the feed is rejecting it. The timestamp reads 10 hours 2 minutes and 9 seconds. 9 minutes before the call came in. The house alarm never tripped. No doors opened. But something was inside. Meanwhile, Mara Elgin sits in interview room 2. Hands folded. Untouched water bottle beside her. She hasn't blinked in over 2 minutes. Detective Corelli leans in. "Who's on the walkie-talkie, Mara?" A beat. Then, "The one I told them about." A pause. "The one they said wasn't real." Her voice flattens. "They called it a phase. Then a lie. Then they stopped answering me altogether." Mara sits across from Principal Lannister. Her arms are wrapped tight across her chest. Her lips trembling. She's just reported that a man is sneaking into her room at night, through the vent above her bed. That he doesn't talk like normal people. That he clicks and whispers. And sometimes just hums. The principal clicks her pen and smiles politely. Mara, have you spoken to the school counselor lately? But this wasn't the first complaint. The neighbors had reported strange figures lingering around the Elgin home. One described seeing someone watching the windows. But it wasn't a man. It moved wrong. Another said they heard two different versions of Mara's voice, fighting with each other at 2 a.m. One voice begging, the other laughing. Corelli lays a printed photo on the table. A still from the hallway camera, frame 213. Mara, do you know this person? She glances down and recoils. That's when she speaks the words that make Corelli stop cold. That's not a person. Then softly, he wore my father's face, but not his eyes. Later that night, Officer Bailey combs through Mara's personal effects from the scene. Everything catalogued. But there's one item that wasn't on the list. Cassette tape. Labeled only. The Promise. It wasn't in her bag. Wasn't in the house. It was found in the squad car glove compartment. No one knows how it got there. Bailey plays it. First just static. Then piano music. Then whispering. A girl's voice. Familiar. He said he wouldn't hurt them if I stopped talking. Mara uploads a TikTok. It's only 7 seconds long. She's looking into the camera. Eyes red. A handprint-shaped bruise visible on her shoulder. Caption. This is my last warning. No one listens anyway. She deletes it an hour later. But someone screen-recorded it. The video resurfaces after the police report. People start digging. A few online sleuths piece together fragments. They realize, every time Mara reported being stalked, every time she said, he's back, someone in her life disappeared. The substitute teacher, her therapist, a neighbor's dog, her cousin from out of town. Each time she spoke, something close to her vanished. And no one connected the dots. Until now. Corelli asks the question she's been holding back. Mara, where are your parents? Mara looks up. Her voice almost sings. I asked them to listen. Corelli frowns. And? I think he made them listen too closely. Then she leans forward and whispers. They heard something they weren't supposed to. Suddenly, the lights flicker. The walkie-talkie on the desk bursts with static. Then a voice. Low, distorted. Not coming from the speaker but from somewhere below. Promise kept. Mara doesn't move. But she smiles. Wednesday. 1:42 a.m. Security camera footage is finally decrypted from Mara's childhood bedroom. A single overhead bulb flickers. The room is still. Empty. Then, at exactly 1:03 a.m., the closet door opens. No wind. No movement in the hallway. Just the closet. And something steps out. But the image doesn't clarify what. The pixels distort violently, as if the figure is being rejected by reality itself. Just a blur of dark limbs and something smiling too wide. A low screech rips through the audio. Then, Mara's voice. Don't film him. He hates that. The camera blacks out. Detective Corelli is reviewing every 911 call made from the Elgin household over the past 2 years. 7 in total. All from Mara. None of them followed up. Each call ends with the same sentence. Sometimes whispered, sometimes screamed. He's not a stranger. He lives here. 6 months ago. Janet is documenting Mara's third incident report. Mara claims something is watching her sleep. That it wears people she knows. That sometimes her father would enter her room, but say the wrong things. That her mother would hug her, but smell like dirt. Janet writes down possible PTSD hallucinations. But deep down, she knows something is off. Mara's descriptions are too consistent, too visceral. So Janet asks, where does he come from? This person? Mara responds without blinking. From the space between my walls. Janet marks the session for follow-up. 2 days later, she's dead. Found in her garage, car engine running. No suicide note. Just one thing scrawled on the windshield in black ink. You listened. Mara hasn't spoken in hours. But when Corelli enters the room again, Mara asks one thing. Did you find the crawl space? What crawl space? Mara turns her head slowly toward the mirror. Not the detective. The one with the promises inside. Then she points downward. The floorboards. Under the nursery. Corelli and Officer Bailey remove the rug in what was once a nursery. Long abandoned. There's a cutout in the floor, sealed with nails and wax. They pry it open. The smell hits first, wet copper, mildew, something older than rot. Inside is a small space, barely big enough for a child to crouch. But someone had lived there. Blankets, a small toy, and a notebook, bound in electrical tape. They flip it open. Every page is written in crayon. I'm not lying. He's real. I can hear his bones. Another page. He watches me blink. Then, if I stay quiet, he doesn't take anyone. But I'm tired of being quiet. The last page is scribbled with one word over and over again. Sorry. Josh recalls one night years ago when Mara was 12. She ran barefoot into his yard, screaming, clothes torn, covered in soot. She screamed, "My dad's not my dad," then collapsed. Police returned her home, said she was having a mental episode. But Josh remembers her face, like she'd seen something that broke the rules of the world. Not shock, not fear, violation. He never forgot what she said before the officers took her. They're all just copies now. Back at the precinct, Corelli finds Mara sketching with the back of a receipt. A childlike image, a house, a girl standing outside it. Figures at the windows, their mouths too wide, their eyes crossed out. The sun is black. Corelli kneels. Mara, where are your parents? Mara answers with a single sentence that freezes the room. They're in the house, but not upstairs anymore. Back at the Elgin home, Officer Bailey goes missing. One moment he's on the first floor. The next, his radio crackles with static and a high-pitched voice says, "We liked him better when he didn't ask questions." His flashlight is later found in the attic. Still on, pointing directly at the air vent. Inside the vent, a human tooth. Still warm. That night, Corelli dreams of Mara. She's sitting in the precinct interview room, smiling, calm. Her mouth opens and opens until it splits across her cheekbones. From inside, a voice speaks. Not Mara's voice. You believed her. That makes you next. Corelli wakes up in her car. She doesn't remember falling asleep. But her radio is on. It's playing the audio from Mara's walkie-talkie. She told everyone. You were too late. Thursday, 5:03 a.m. Detective Corelli hasn't gone home. She's sitting in her car outside the Elgin house watching the windows. She hasn't admitted it out loud, but something is wrong with time here. It's not just the clocks glitching. It's the people. Mara hasn't aged in any of her school photos over the last 3 years. Same haircut, same distant eyes, and the dates don't line up. One photo is timestamped October 12, 2023, but in the background is a girl who died the previous spring. Inside the house, crime scene techs are reviewing new evidence. They've lifted fingerprints from inside the crawl space, but they don't match anyone. Not Mara, not her parents, not anyone in the database. What they do find is chilling. A tiny drawing taped to the underside of the trapdoor. Crayon on torn notebook paper. A stick figure girl, surrounded by dozens of shadowy shapes. Above them, written in a child's shaky hand, "They promised I'd be safe if I stayed small." Jameson was last seen playing outside his aunt's house, 2 blocks from the Elgin residence. At the time, police believed he'd run away. But now, a voice memo is recovered from an old school-issued iPad that was returned to the district. It's time-stamped the day before he vanished. The file name, "Don't go near her shed for." Audio plays, shaky breath, a boy whispering. "She said she keeps him in the shed when he's bad. But I saw him. He's not a person. He looks like her dad, but his eyes are full of bugs. And he talks in backwards sounds. She said if I tell, he'll crawl through my window and peel me open like her hamster." Pause. I think he already did something to her parents. They don't blink anymore, and they laugh at stuff that's not funny. Corelli and a forensic team unlock the backyard shed for the first time. Inside, dust, cobwebs, tools. But in the far corner, under a tarp, a child's sleeping bag, a broken video camera, and a stack of Polaroids. Each photo shows a different child. Some sleeping, some sitting, stone-faced. In every image, there's a tall figure in the background, just out of focus. Sometimes it wears a hat. Sometimes it doesn't have a face. The last photo in the stack? Jameson Lee, smiling. But behind him is Mara, standing beside the tall figure, her eyes scratched out in ink. A sentence scrawled at the bottom. She doesn't know yet. Recovered from a hard drive buried in the garage. There's something wrong with our daughter. She says he visits her at night, but now she says she lets him in. That he needs to feed. My wife says it's night terrors. I'm not sure anymore. 2 days ago, I woke up in the hallway. Nose bleeding, shirt ripped. I don't remember falling asleep. Mara was in the kitchen, drawing him again. She said, "It's your face, but not your voice." Then she told me I was already dead. I laughed, but then she whispered, "You just don't know it yet." Last night, I heard something crawl through the vent. Corelli plays the video from the recovered Polaroid camera. No timestamp. It begins with static. Then a view of the Elgin living room. Someone is filming, breathing hard. The camera turns, revealing Mara standing in the hallway. She's not speaking, just a humming. The humming gets louder. It begins to distort, as if the sound is coming from beneath the floorboards. Then, behind her, a hand reaches up from the baseboard and strokes her arm. Mara doesn't flinch. She smiles and says, "They only take what you ignore." The camera drops. That night, Corelli returns home for the first time in 72 hours. She finds a sticky note on her fridge that she didn't write. It reads, "You're not watching her. She's watching you." The handwriting matches Mara's. Her stomach drops. She checks her phone. An audio file has been airdropped to her at 3:13 a.m. The file plays. It's her own voice. Panicked. Crying. She's whispering. "It's in the walls. It's wearing my face." But she has no memory of recording it. A new witness comes forward. A janitor from the school where Mara was enrolled. He never gave a statement. Never contacted police. But now he says he can't hold it in anymore. His testimony: there's a hole in the ceiling above the girls' bathroom. It's not on the blueprints. It leads somewhere. Sometimes she'd just stand under it, talking to the dark. One day, I heard something answer back. Thursday, 11:49 p.m. The wind outside the precinct howls louder than it should. Not the kind of loud that makes you close windows. The kind that sounds like it's whispering your name. Inside, Corelli stares at her monitor. She's paused on frame 882 of the recovered school hallway footage. There, between flickers, something impossible. Mara walking, and another Mara, frozen behind her reflection in the glass trophy case. One moving, one still. Two mouths, one smirk. Interview recorded 8 months ago. Flagged but never followed up. She asked me if I knew what it felt like to be copied. I thought she meant teasing or bullying. You know how kids are. But then she leaned close and said, "I watched it try on my mother like a coat, but it didn't button right." And now she cries without moving her face. I told the counselor. No one believed me. 2 weeks later, I found a pair of shoes in my closet that weren't mine, but fit perfectly. I haven't gone back to the school since. Back to present. 2:17 a.m. Corelli receives a voicemail from a restricted number. Plays automatically. No greeting, just static. Then whispering. Then her own voice. "He's behind me." She freezes, because she never said those words. Not out loud. Not ever. They all think he came for me, but he didn't. I came for him. The house let him in because I asked it to. He said I could trade. Trade silence for safety. Trade smiles for forgetting. He liked when I cried, but he loved when I lied. I used to scream until my throat bled, but no one came. So I made a deal. Now, he takes who I point to. And they still say I'm making it up. Agent Nichols conducted a wellness check. The house was quiet. Too quiet. The parents expressionless. Mara didn't speak at first, just pointed at the vent above the fireplace. Finally, she whispered, "He's in there, listening to you breathe." Nichols laughed nervously, marked it as imaginative coping. He was found dead 72 hours later. No wounds, no signs of trauma, but his mouth had been stitched closed from the inside. EMT number 2419, Jenna Rowe, included a note never processed. Upon arrival, we found the girl unresponsive on the kitchen floor. Her heart rate was elevated, eyes dilated. But what struck me? She had multiple handprints on her arms. Small, like a child's. But she was alone. She woke up, looked straight at me and said, "Don't answer if he knocks twice." Then the lights went out. Crime scene investigators open the attic hatch. They find an old puppet theater box stored in the rafters. Dusty, fragile, but inside photographs. Polaroids of the Elgin family. Every photo sliced across the mouth. And a final image no one can explain. A group of children, sitting in a circle, eyes closed, holding hands. Mara is among them, and in the middle a figure in a mask made of human faces. Handwritten note. He picks the best liar to keep. She checks her apartment. Her mirrors are covered in condensation. She hasn't showered, but a handprint is visible in the fog. Not hers. Too small. Is pointing at the hallway. She draws her weapon, creeps forward. The lights flicker. Then her phone buzzes. A new voicemail. It's Mara's voice, soft and sing-song. "Detective, you believe me now, don't you? So who's going to believe you?" Voice distortion confirmed. Possibly Jameson. Audio fragment recovered from Mara's walkie-talkie. "You think she's the victim, but she opened the door. I watched her. We all told them who hurt us. They didn't care. So now she decides who disappears. She used to cry for help. Now she hums while they're taken." Corelli returns to the house. One last time. She walks through the hall, into the nursery, under the crib, where Mara said, "He listens best." Corelli whispers, "I believe you." From the dark comes a single tap. Then two. Then, too late. Recovered from Corelli's vest. The screen shakes. She turns sharply toward the door. A figure enters frame, tall, coat dragging the floor. It moves wrong, like it's glitching through time. It wears Corelli's own face, but the eyes completely black. The screen goes black. Then a voice, distant, layered with static. Now she listens too. Friday, 3:33 a.m. The town is silent, but not the Elgin house. That place never really sleeps. Inside, the walls creak not from the cold, but from something pressing inward, like the house is holding its breath, waiting for someone to ask the wrong question. The first time she called, she didn't ask for help. She said, "Do you believe in things that wear skin but not souls?" I thought it was a prank. But then she whispered, "If you ignore the fire, it learns how to hide in water." The line went dead, but her voice stayed in my ear for hours, like it echoed inside my bones. I never reported it. I should have. Detective Corelli has been missing for 16 hours. What's left behind is even worse. Her apartment was found locked from the inside. All reflective surfaces, mirrors, TVs, even the stainless sink, shattered, but not smashed from impact. Every shard was bent inward, like something pulled its way through. Her voice recorder was still running. One clip recovered before the audio melted into static. She didn't lie. She didn't make him up. We all did. We created him every time we ignored the screaming. Every time we turned the lights back off. Contacted anonymously. Unlisted number. She agrees to speak on one condition. No names. No dates. No promises. She told me when we were 8 that her closet had a visitor. He only knocked when her parents fought. At first, she said he was nice. Said he told her jokes and called her beautiful. But then he started asking for things. Said he was hungry. Not for food. For voices. She gave him whispers. Then lies. Then blood. She said he doesn't like being seen, so he started wearing people she hated. After her hamster died, she stopped crying. She started humming. Police find a locked journal inside the library's return bin. It's not cataloged, not from any known author. Inside are drawings, grotesque, childlike depictions of skinless things smiling with human eyes. Next to each drawing, a date, a name. All the names match unsolved missing persons cases over the last 6 years. At the back of the journal, one phrase repeated, "We were the warning. She was the answer." A team is sent to begin demolition. They've been ordered to tear it down, to bury the house, bury the history. They never make it past the front door. First responder reports an auditory hallucination that caused his eardrums to burst. He claims he heard, "She's not the one who opened the door. She's the one who knocked." Survivor testimony. Gabriel Ruiz, ex-officer, previously on suspension. He's the last person to interrogate Mara before she was transferred. "She asked me if I had a daughter. I said yes. She said, 'Tell her not to sing in the dark. That's how he hears you.' Then she looked straight at the camera and said, 'He's watching from behind your eyes.' I blinked, and in the monitor, my own reflection didn't. Video footage from security cams across the street catches it. The house doesn't catch fire in any normal way. There's no spark, no lightning, just collapse. At 3:33 a.m., the house begins to bleed smoke from the windows. Not black, not gray, white, milky, like breath. Then it starts crumbling inward, as if pulled by gravity toward something beneath the foundation. No explosion, no flames, but the air ripples, and every mirror in a 5-mile radius cracks simultaneously. Inside the rubble, no human remains, no furniture, no walls, just a single wooden puppet, its eyes scorched out, and a walkie-talkie, still working. A voice crackles through. "One left. She still believes." Now 18. Living under witness protection. She receives a package. No return address. Inside, a photo of her and Mara, age 7, arms around each other. A recorder. A folded note. "It's your turn to speak." She plays the recorder. Mara's voice, trembling. "I tried to stop him, but no one believed me. Now he's loose, and he wants stories. If you talk about him, he finds you. If you stay silent, he wears your face. Either way, someone disappears. So speak, but never promise anything." The voice wasn't screaming anymore. It was humming, low, flat, like someone singing to a doll that had already died. The old room where the final confrontation happened was nothing like a crime scene. There were no broken glass shards, no overturned furniture, just stillness, too clean, too untouched, and the smell of copper. Detective Calhoun didn't breathe when he stepped inside. He didn't blink either, because in the center of the room, right where the old twin bed had once been, was the child-sized outline marked in dry, flaking red. Not tape, not chalk, but drawn with fingers. A nursery rhyme still played from the hallway speaker. One the neighbors swore had been disconnected since the 90s. She said his name over and over, but the walls just swallowed it whole. Cut to Marlee, aged up, silent, standing in the doorway. Her face looked older, not by years but by war, the kind of age that grief carves in before time ever does. Her hands were bandaged, one eye still swollen, but she stood straight, staring at the mark in the floor with no tears left. "They told me he wasn't real, even when I brought them photos, even when I gave them names. They told me I was projecting trauma." Her voice didn't shake. It burned. "They didn't listen, so I made them look." The same detectives who laughed when she first came in, now staring pale-faced, reviewing old footage. A man caught in the background of 3 separate crime scenes. Same walk, same wristwatch, same broken left ring finger, but different names, different IDs, same smirk. The truth came all at once. The neighbor, Mrs. Elkins, the one who dismissed Marlee's screams that night, was found catatonic. Scribbled in her bathroom mirror was the phrase, She told me. I laughed. The school counselor? Gone. Disappeared after being served a warrant. His basement contained dozens of tapes. None labeled, only numbered, and one marked simply, Marlee, not a victim, and then, the officer, the one who said she was too dramatic for her own good. They found him slumped at his desk, unmoving, eyes wide open, mouth frozen in shock. No wounds, no poison, just a final message scratched into his notepad with trembling hands. I see him now. He was always behind her. Marlee stood in court, alone. The prosecution tried to paint her as unstable, unfit. But the defense didn't argue innocence, they argued truth. And in the center of their closing statement, the voice recordings. Every call she made to 911 as a child. Every whispered detail she gave to teachers, police, pastors. All ignored. All laughed off. All dismissed. Marlee walks through the empty childhood house. The slated for demolition. The new owners never moved in. Too many complaints. Too many sightings. She walks to the back wall, the one behind her old bed. Peels away the final strip of wallpaper. Underneath, small handprints. Faint. Pressed deep into the plaster like something had been buried inside the wall. Her voice is quiet now, but this time, not trembling. He hid in plain sight, and every time I screamed, they just turned up the volume of the world around me. You want to know who hurt me? Everyone who made me prove it. Silence. Then a final phrase flickers on screen. Slowly. Listen. The first time. It might save a life. Do you think this was a ghost? Or something worse? Comment below. Subscribe to the Veil of Secret for more terrifying true stories like this.